Shows how Aston Martin managed to make their cars modern. Stay tuned till later on in the video. They do get the battery worked out. But anyway, let me give you a tour of the car first. I mean, look at those hood scoops. Look at that long hood. I'll show you inside the engine a little bit. Just a beautiful car. Those vents on the side, those carbon ceramic brakes. This is probably one of the most beautiful cars out there. A lot of people don't like those rims. I kind of know what they're talking about. Coming around to the back here, it's just absolutely stunning. I wanted to give you some kind of like beauty shots of it there, and all the air on this car is very impressive. I'll show you a little bit more about how it channels air in a little bit. Even the lights on this car are just incredible looking, and it's a beautiful car. Even the gold on the engine there is amazing. So it's carbon fiber roof, of course, and anyway, here is some sound. Still working on getting it started. It just didn't want to turn over. It had been on a truck. They don't drive this car around. They actually truck it around, so it totally makes sense you could have a dead battery.
So this is on, and then, oh my god, it's so light. I'm sure it's well hinged too. You see this coming through back there, connects up in there. Evidently they were saying you can fit all this luggage in the trunk there, which is cool.
So they got really, really creative with the arrow. That's an active vent there, and let me show you where it actually goes. The air channels in there, around through here, and then of course it would have to end right there. So they got really creative with the design and actually put it so it'll come out the back. Yeah, very quickly on the interior, digital screens, very nice. I don't think it's the nicest Aston Martin interior, but it is very, very nice. Alcantara roof, those seats, the design, the patterns, that special wood, or I think that's wood in the door there. So this is to show you how the brake lights light up. It's kind of cool, actually, how they managed to integrate them there. The blinker is just a regular blinker. The nothing cascade.
Thanks, Grace. I think I've got to keep talking until the bus arrives, right?
It's fine.
Yeah. It's fine. All right, let's run through DBS Superleggera then. So let's talk about positioning to start with. So this is car 3 of our second century plan, which is 7 cars in 7 years, copy, repeat, and it is the car that replaces Vanquish, and it's also the car that completes the replacement of the previous sports car range. So with this car kind of done on that replacement program. So it's our Super GT car. It's part of the DB family. You will see that there are elements that are the same as DB11, particularly the glass house and the door, but then every other panel is different. And it's DBS Superleggera because it has some carbon fibre lightweight elements to it. It has carbon ceramic brakes. It is lighter than DB11. And the Superleggera name, we've brought that back because we've rekindled a relationship with touring in Italy through the DB4 GT continuation program. And we thought it would be really nice to put it on this car. You know, Ferrari 812, they have superfast, so we've chosen to go with an Italian word, Superleggera, from our back catalogue. But the car really is all about what's underneath the hood. So let me open that up. It is our familiar 5.2 litre twin turbo V12. And when we set out to design DB11, we knew this car was coming. And so we designed this engine to this power output. So 715 horsepower, 664 pounds-foot of torque. So this is now at its upper limit with this hardware. So hardware is the same as DB11, but what we've done is effectively increase the boost. So you've got that peak torque from 1800 RPM to 5,500 RPM. with an upper limit of 7.2. And really the only thing that we've had to do is make sure we can keep the thing cool. And that's why this front end is more open aperture than it is bumper. So we've dramatically increased the cross-sectional intake area to the intercoolers, because that's absolutely key for keeping the charge temperature down and getting the power up. And then it's got an extra cooler as well. So huge power output and a really significant torque output. In fact, it's 25% more torque than the Ferrari 812. But super torque wouldn't have sounded quite as good as Superleggera. Anyway, that drives then through aluminium torque tube, carbon fibre prop shaft to a brand new gearbox that's sat in the back here. So transaxle layout as per all of our other cars. But in this car it's ZF's 8HP95, it's the high torque capacity 8-speed gearbox, and then bolted onto the back of that is a shorter final drive ratio. So not only have we increased power, we've shortened the gearing just to make sure that it's throwing you down the road as fast as we can make it. Wheels on this car, and you can see the carbon ceramic brakes as well. So actually the chassis is kind of a hybrid of things that we've done on Vantage and things that we've done on DB11. So the front end is very much all the bush tune from a Vantage, and that's to improve stiffer lateral compliance. And then on the rear, we've retained the isolated rear subframe of DB11 rather than going to a fixed non-isolated rear subframe, and that's because we want to keep this car as a GT car. So in terms of positioning, to give you an idea, DB11 has 2.1 degrees per G roll. This car is 2.6, and then Vantage is 3. Other way around.
Yeah.
Sorry, 3 degrees on DB11, 2.1 on Vantage, 2.6 on this. And then ride frequencies are about 10% stiffer than DB11, and it's about 10% less than Vantage. So, dynamically, it very much sits between them.
Can you, for a moment, just start starting off, but can you clarify between isolated and fixed what the structural
Right. Okay.
difference is?
So, I mean, basically, on Vantage, the rear subframe just bolts straight up into the structure, and it acts as part of the overall vehicle structure and starts adding torsional contribution to that. With this car, you've got rubber bushes between the subframe and the body, so you get an element of isolation, which just helps with road noise and general compliance. So this, you'll know, those of you that have driven a DB11 and driven a Vantage, there's a distinct difference in road noise, and that's largely a function of both the tyre, the bushes, and what we're doing with the subframe. So keeping this isolated was key to retaining the GT performance. So there's other detail changes, such as this car runs more camber than Vantage. It actually runs more camber than any of our other cars, and we've really tried to get good agility feel into the chassis, and the camber coupled with steering tune really helps to give you that. So it'll be interesting to see what you make of it when you drive it tomorrow. Then other details, aero is clearly a really big part of what goes on with a car that's capable of 211 miles an hour. And there's various aero features all over the car. So if we start at the front, we've reinterpreted this area here. You'll see the traditional Aston side strake is gone and it's been replaced with these louvers. It carries out the same function that it does on DB11, i.e. taking air out of the wheelhouse area. And then we've also changed this feature compared to a DB11, where it's sort of an open vent here. It's very similar to what we've done on the GTE race car. And then as you work your way back, we've obviously got very pronounced sill blades that are working in conjunction with that front splitter about managing air underneath the car. And there's actually quite a few features that I can't show you because they're right underneath there in terms of guiding air. But just coming to the top, so we take air in through the C duct here as per DB11, and then we vent it out the back here. But of course we've got a fixed carbon blade on this car compared to the deploying version on DB11. And this vent actually sits about 30 millimeters higher than on the DB11, and this whole blade is about twice the width. So, the total effect of all of the air on here is you've got about 400 pounds of downforce at V max for no drag penalty compared to a DB11. There's
400 pounds total.
Yeah. And that's more downforce than any series production Aston that we've done.
Is DB11, was it neutral or was it?
It's neutral. It's neutral to slight lift. To slight lift, yeah. And that blade and vent is working then in conjunction with the double diffuser that's down here. So you'll see there's a couple of little extra diffusory bits here because we're channeling the high energy airflow underneath the car through there. So it's a pretty effective aero package because it's not overt. It's not like big wings like we would have had on a GT12 or a GT8. Other things then, noise or sound, I should probably say. This car has a new quad exhaust system on it, quad tailpipe, and it's been tuned to really draw out the V12 engine notes. So 6th order in particular, 6th order firing has been enhanced. It's about 10 dB more than a DB11 AMR. So it has a very distinct, we think very distinct V12 sound character to it. And then the Symposer that we also have on the DB11, that's been tuned to work in conjunction with it.
10 dB more at what speed?
It is about 5,000 RPM. So we're really focused on that sort of 2 to 5,000 RPM area because that's where you spend most of your time driving. Performance then. So 0 to 60 is 3.3 seconds, 0 to 100 is 6.4 seconds. But that doesn't sort of tell the whole story because with that amount of torque, it's your in-gear stuff that's really quite impressive. So 40, got to get this right, 40 or 50 to 100 is 4.2 seconds, and it's about a second quicker than an F12. I haven't got 812 figures because there don't seem to be many around at the moment. But yeah, in gear is where this thing is really going to start going at the Ferrari. And I'm talking about the Ferrari quite a lot because really that's where we see this car being positioned. I mean, at this price point, you're into pretty rarefied atmosphere in terms of the number of cars that are available to you, and it's quite a diverse spread of cars with sort of McLaren 720S and 812. But it's an obvious comparator because they're both V12 engined front GT cars. But our blend of attributes we think is quite different to the 812. We are very much GT. From what I've read about the 812, that's heading more in the sports direction, is possibly a bit more frenetic than this car. So I think that's it. I think that covers the highlights.
If you got a second, where are you getting the weight out?
Right,
and
good.
On that topic, is the Superleggera thing, is there any affiliation with touring?
With touring?
In this?
Not from a design perspective, no. I mean, we have to license the name from them because they own it.
So they don't make any of the panels?
No, they don't make any of the panels, no. So you've got the carbon fibre clamshell, which is a weight save, the optional carbon roof and roof strakes, the deck lid here, the wheels, the carbon ceramic brakes, then you've got a optional titanium muffler which will come along shortly, that also contributes, and a lithium ion battery which will be available post job one as well. So all of those features and options help to drive that weight down.
Thank you. And what do you say, how much lighter is it than a DB11 AMR?
So 72 kilos. Hang on, I've got my little. I've got my imperial crib sheet here. 159 pounds.
Give or take.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
How much boost have you turned it up to get the power?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's about 0.2 bar.
Is the increase or total?
Increase.
Okay.
No.
Compared to the DB?
Compared to the DB11.
Is the 72
So we have to
kilogram
find out
figure
what
with
DB is.
the battery and the exhaust?
Sorry.
Is the 72 kilogram figure with the battery?
Yeah,
and
it
the
includes
exhaust?
lightweight options. Yeah.
So when it comes to the engine, you said that the DB11 AMR that basically you keep the boost up high for longer to get the more power, and then in this case you just turn it up even higher.
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the beauty of turbo engines when you design it and you know the upper limit.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's just playing. Yeah.
Is this the upper limit for the engine?
Yeah, in this hardware configuration. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Any more questions? No? I mean, Paul will be around throughout the whole time that you're here, so if you
Yeah,
think
ask
of
away.
anything else or
Yeah.